a swing chain around his neck and he hung himself. And I've listened to those stories year after year after year. And it doesn't appeal to people's compassion and people's sensitivity. When those issues were coming forward, people were making education a priority. They were making health care a priority. And in the Maclean's poll, we rated like number 20th below multicultural affairs. Because people don't care whether our children live or die. They haven't made them a priority. And now, in 2007, I don't give a rat's ass whether we create victims, whether white people like us or don't, whether the conservative government cares or it doesn't care. We're going to move forward in a campaign where we're going to demonstrate that we care. We care about our babies. We can do the things that's necessary in order to bring justice to the injustices that have been brought upon us for so long. We will do it. From the tracts, we've been able to say, and on that day we said, that we will look at those targets, that we will look at that infrastructure, that we will take whatever action is necessary to bring this government to its knees. I'm not an unreasonable person. And when the circumstances are unreasonable, then those actions have to be moved forward. I read an article yesterday that talked about a YouTube video of how to shut down the trains. And within that, there was a CN spokesman who said, if everybody did this, we'd be fucked. CN brought a claim, and they brought a financial claim. I've been charged more times over this campaign than I have been recently. And when they served me with this, and they said, what's your reaction? And I laughed. And I said, put it on the list. We'll deal with it when this is done. Because that's what it means. An injunction to stay off the tracks. They served us an injunction 10 hours into the CN mainline shutdown. And I remember a report that said, the son of a bitch took the paper, rolled it up, put it in his back pocket, shook the man's hand, and stayed 20 hours longer. I also know that when these things are brought forward, criminal charges, financial sanctions, those are the types of things that are going to move these actions underground. Because not everybody is prepared and able to bear those consequences. And CN thought that by punishing us, that would be a deterrent for people. And they don't know First Nations people very well. It may just be a deterrent so that people don't put their faces on the lines and an old decrepit school bus, and maybe they seek other means to bring about those disruptions. And that's what they have to contend with now. our leadership. I heard on CBC last night, the National, we don't have a TV in the quarry. A Manitoba chief, Terrence Nelson, came out and said, it's clear to us the only thing that these people understand is guns or when we get between them and their money. We're now back into a situation where at least our people are realizing where we stand in the eyes of this government. And for the people that went through the 2001 campaign of economic disruption against terrorists, and I heard it talked about Jim Flaherty, and I heard Peter speak about Fantino. Well, they were both players back then. And that provincial government that went down in disgrace in the province of Ontario was reconstituted at a federal level. And Jim Flaherty, whose shit went through the window and out in Highway 2 back in 2001, is now the finance minister. And I just want to make it clear that when the budget came down this year, there was about $20 billion that was spent. And that was when Phil said, and I'm sure he regretted it the minute the words came out of his mouth, he said, go out and shut down the rail lines, shut down the highways, shut down the bridges, the hydro lines, shut her down. And people really didn't understand what he meant or where his anger was coming from. But when the budget gave us nothing, the demographics of our communities means that nothing pushes us back. Because we have kids that are requiring the services, we have people that require the services, it's ever increasing and nothing pushes us back. And they know that. And that's why they did it to us. And for a government to disgrace its society and its people by targeting our kids and our communities isn't just a burden that we bear, it should be a burden that everybody bears. And when the priorities switch to us, where those things become meaningful to other people, that's when the government might change. 6.5 months ago, it was about a quarry license. And now it ain't about a quarry license no more. It's about coast to coast. It's now about June 29th. It's about people organizing for a day, or a week, or a month, as it was suggested last night. 2007 isn't simply about planned or protest or retaliation. 2007 is going to be a year where First Nations people will redefine who we are within this society, and will redefine and change the perspective of how people will look at us. There has never been a change within any social movement on this continent or any struggle of any people that hasn't had to go through misery and suffering in order to have something better.